What's up, guys? Daniel here, and this is my cultural engagement vlog for the Campus Engagement Vlogs. And the culture I chose to do was local restaurant owners and farmers who sort of work to supply each other food as well as make food for consumers that like to eat it. And the event that I went to was called Farm to Table Dining, Local Restaurants Using Food, and it was put on by the MSU Libraries. And it was basically a panel discussion on local restaurants using local food that included a few members of farms and restaurants in the area, and they talked about the partnerships between local restaurants and local farms and opportunities for sourcing locally. And when I was at the event, I was unable to take any sort of videos while I was there, and you could not take pictures during the event's progress. So I got one picture before the event, which is here. So I'm just going to talk about what was discussed during the meeting, and the way it worked was that it was 3 10-minute sections where each of these 3 people who represented either a local farm or a local restaurant talked about how they made the balance between the consumer and the producer work, and as well as gave information about their personal business. And the first person to talk, his name was Adam Montre, and he was the owner of 10 Hens Farm in Bath, Michigan. And they grew greens and other functionally organic vegetables that they provide to local restaurants in the area. And they have hoop houses that work 12 months a year, which allows them to grow even in the winter. They sell to 9 different restaurants in the Lansing area, and they are a big advocate of providing food to local areas. But another part of what he talked about was how money was a priority for him, and he needed to make sure, as well as his advocacy of providing to local businesses, that this is also a business and he has to provide for the family. And so he had a bit of a talk about philosophical farming versus business farming, and the way that works is sort of the romantic atmosphere that growing food and giving it to people and making great food creates, as well as the fact that he has a life and living that he has to provide for his family, and I thought that was really interesting. The second person to talk at the event her name was Nina Santucci, and she was the owner of Red Haven, which is a small restaurant that has seasonal cooking and recipes and focuses on serving diversity in Michigan agriculture. And they started with a food truck that served the East Lansing area, and then they moved to this location where they could have their own restaurant and serve the same types of food. So now they have both services working around this area. And Nina, one thing she talked about was how she felt that in this area chain restaurants dominated much of the market for food, and she wanted to bring a different sort of homegrown, hometown feel to the eatery scene in this area. And one thing she talked about was she was training consumers to value the local restaurant. The way she explained that was that most people are just used to going to any restaurant, fast food restaurant, getting whatever they want, the same thing, and paying a relatively cheap price for it. And what she said that Red Haven provided was a slightly more expensive service for ingredients that were grown in Michigan nearby, and cooked by her service with higher quality and better. She wanted people to realize that they were paying a bit more, but they were getting more out of the food they were eating. And I thought that up information about and kind of environment and interaction between two groups of people that I never knew existed, and gave me more information about how those processes work and how those people work with each other to get food on plates that I eat. And it was really cool, and I think I learned a lot. Thanks.